The Crimson Veil Campaign, Act 1, The Black Distillery. The death cults are on the rise, their threat looming like a shadow over the mist-shrouded isle of Innisfail. Your warband have taken refuge at Dun Shael, a fortified hill city, its walls etched with wards against the undead. Folan Shadowblades has found work hard to come by, and paranoia aplenty as their headhunters hunker down. At last, hired by the Veiled Patron, Folan must go to the Black Distillery and have a word with the chemist Kumak Nananan. He's not paying his dues, and trouble always comes of such behaviour. You understand, your job is to be that trouble. For some reason your patron didn't want to discuss. His usual boys were clearly not going to cut it. No, this job requires someone nastier, someone who'll get the job done, and then some. As Folan arrives at the Black Distillery, the iron-pitted wooden doors are closed and barring the path to a payday. He must batter through these with his Barghest Faust to disrupt the chemist's necrotic rites and weird experiments. Strange cult warriors guard the gates, their blades gleaming with unholy fervour. Time is short, the red mist gathers, and the chemist's ritual alchemy nears completion. Breach the stronghold, sort out Kumak Nananan, and ensure he never thinks about non-payment of his dues again. Folan's words cut deep, but will his creed hold against the zeal of the utterly fanatic lads hanging about outside the distillery, drinking some foul grog in the evening shade? Or will his demons drive him to slaughter? This game will be part tutorial and part playthrough. I'm joined by Paul, so hello. Your hosts are Paul and Paul. Yeah, good luck with that.
Other names are available.
Venerable Knight and Wizard. Okay. So the two blue dice that have popped down there are on top of the icons for the dice. It tells you where their placement should be. We're going to dial down the damage to the doors. I always like to dial up the damage to the doors, but we'll keep it consistent with dialing down health from enemies when they get hit. This left-hand side of the board is where you're going to set up your ley lines and your game round tracker, which is this card. On there is a dice icon with a symbol by it, and that icon is the symbol for corruption, and that's where you're going to be putting your corruption and tracking it as the game goes on. We've got our two hero scrolls here and here, and we're going to be playing it in two-player. In solo, you flip this, and on the other side, you're going to want your ally card. So all of this stuff is printed by us. This is not from the Only Game store. We're still in the process at the time of recording of setting that up. Right. So at the start of the game round, for ease, I'm going to start the game, and I'm going to start with Folan. So it's round one. We've got to get past these cold warriors, and we've got to break through these doors, and we've got 6 game rounds to do it. Now, we've already done a video on converting dice rolls, so you can see that from what I've rolled, I've got a combat, I've got 2 class results, and I've got an enemy result. So I've got to give one of the nearest enemies an action before I start. And I'll get those out of there. Paul, did I give you some dice earlier?
You did.
Okay, tough. Okay. Just grab a couple of extras for when you start getting actions and things. Right, okay. So the first of the enemies, I'm going to roll a dice to see which... I'm going to pick this one because they're all equidistant. So I'll pick this one and we'll see what he does. Okay, so I've rolled an enemy. So on his behaviour, which you might have printed up a scroll like this one, and you'll see that when you roll an enemy, he's going to move 2 and attack with 3 dice. So he's going to move 2, he's going to move towards the most healthy hero, which in this case it doesn't really matter because we're both equally healthy. Actually, we're not. No, Faust starts with 5, so he's going to be attacking you. Sorry about that, dear boy.
Cheers.
All right, so his attack against you is a miss. All of these are 3s and 4s. He needs a 5 and a 6 to get any hits. So, okay. Now that has exposed the class symbol that's on that table, which in this means that I've got a shout at achieving a secondary objective, because if you remember, our primary objective is break through those doors, but we've got a couple of secondary objectives. So the secondary objectives are personal objectives. One's mouths to feed, where we can get a barrel each, which are marked on the map, indicated by the interact symbols. And the other one is, what's this then? Where you can spend a class action whilst you're on or adjacent to that icon on the map there, to grab the crumpled map that one of them's been trying to read. So I think I'm going to go for that, mate. So
Okay.
I will spend...
You're going to get a party.
Yeah, I'm going to spend a class to go over there, which will go 1, 2, taking 1 parting shot from this chap here. So again, on his enemy scroll, which I'll just show the camera, in the top right is what he needs to get on a single dice roll to hit you with a parting shot, and it's unblockable damage. Now that is an enemy result, which converts to a 1. So he's missed me. So I'm over there. I'm not in a threatened space. I'm going to use the second class action to grab, to make a grab for that map. So that says Revelations 1.1. So I then go to the back of the end of the scenario, to the Revelations section. A crumpled map shows a treasure trove marked as Grimwild's cave. Who was Grimwild, you wonder? One of these cult warriors before he became undead? Or was Grimwild someone else? Either way, might be worth checking out. So we have now unlocked the bonus scenario, Grimwild's cave, which is part of the Crimson Cache. Okay, so I've still got a combat action, but from there I'm not going to use it. I'm going to put that in dodge, and I'm done. So if you want to roll your actions for the round, Paul. All right, let's have a little look over the top. You've got a combat, 2 interacts,
And a class.
2 interacts, a class. Okay. What are you going to go for, mate? You've got a couple of interacts there, which is good.
It is. But I'm going to use Faust's agility and make a beeline for the doors. I'm going to make a start on those doors.
Okay, so what action do you want to spend to move?
I'm going to use the class first of all.
Okay, so we've got 4 movement.
Yeah.
And you're going to go around the outside, presumably. So you're going to provoke 1 parting shot there. So you want to roll 1 dice, and if you...
Not really, but I'll...
yeah.
Yeah,
What do you get?
I got 1.
Okay, so you've been hit. Of course you did. Okay, so you take 1 unblockable damage as he hits you with a parting shot. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
So Faust has arrived there. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the end of a move. You could use a combat against this guy, and then even if you don't hit him, you could activate your charge ability
And knock him out of the way.
and push him backwards. Yeah, then he won't give a parting shot when you move to the doors. Or you could just move to the doors and take another parting shot. That'll give you 2 goes at the doors.
Mm.
And in game round 1, might not be a bad thing.
Well, that was my thought, to try and work. I'll risk the parting shot and I'll just move.
Yeah, why not, eh?
Yeah.
All right. How can the same thing happen to the same fella?
Exactly, yeah.
But it happened to John McClane, didn't it? Is it going to happen to Faust?
Yeah, we're not in an airport, though.
That's true. Okay.
It didn't happen.
So, brilliant. So the combat then gives you 4 movement, but you only need 1 other, really. Yeah. I suppose you could go there and be next to the barrel.
That was...
Give you another...
That's an option, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stay there.
Right.
For the time being.
Then we'll use an interact, I'm assuming. So when you use an interact to damage doors, you're going to be still using might as your... Then gives you 4 movement, but you only need 1 other, really. Yeah. I suppose you could go there and be next to the barrel.
That was...
Give you another...
That's an option, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stay there.
Right.
For the time being.
Then we'll use an interact, I'm assuming. So when you use an interact to damage doors, you're going to be still using might as your attribute. So 4 dice, needing 5s and 6s. Paul's recorded 2, so he's going to have done 2 damage. Now he can, from that square, he can do damage to either door, but we'll just start.
I'm just focusing on 1 for the time being.
That's down to 3.
And I'll do the next
last one.
Yeah.
You want to set a dodge, or do you want to do this?
No, I want to do that.
Okay.
I mean, he's a demon dog. I mean,
He is.
Another 2.
Okay, so that one is down to 1. Nice. Right. So that ends the hero phase. So now Faust, having acted last, activates the furthest enemy from him, which is this fella.
Mm-hmm.
So if you roll a dice for him, Paul, that's what you get.
I got a interact.
Okay, so an interact means he's going to swing his sword around there. Now, no one's adjacent to him. No heroes are adjacent to him, so he's not going to hurt anyone. Then he's going to drink some grog, which he hasn't taken any wounds, so he doesn't need to. And he's going to move towards the door. And the closest he can get to the door would either be there or there. And I don't really want to block my passage towards the doors, so we're going to move him over here. Okay? So he's heading towards the doors to block that off. Now, for me, I think I've got to activate him now that I've put him over there, right? Because he's now furthest from me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to activate one enemy furthest from me, and then the enemy phase is over. So we're going to activate the same guy. And that is a class result. He's doing exactly the same thing, which means that he's actually going to have arrived at the doors, but he hasn't hurt anyone. Okay. So you've got company, mate. Sorry about that, but there you go. Right. That ends the enemy phase. So now we have, we have a spawn, but there's no enemies have been taken out of action. So we can forget about the spawn. We'll tell you about that should it become relevant. So we now go to the end of round event. End of round 1. Zealots cry. The cult warriors chant in the unhallowed tongue, stirring the mist. So the heroes must test faith 1 or gain corruption 1. Okay, so when you do a test, you roll dice equal to your current value in that attribute, and you need 5s and 6s to record successes. Folan has got 4 in faith, so I need to get a single 5+ out of these 4 dice. I've got 2, so I would have got 2 successes. So had it been a faith 2, I would have succeeded still. But it was a faith 1, so I've passed, no corruption. You've only got 2 dice with Faust. He's not too concerned about the gods.
No.
Except maybe the one he serves. Right, you've passed. So, whip your dice back out of there, please, mate. So that means that there's no corruption taken. We now move the game round on. Okay, so you can see that we've now arrived at round 2 on the game tracker, and there's a blue dice there. That's an empowerment on the ley lines. So that's in the instructions for the setup. What that means is that before making a test or before making an attack, we can add 1 success to that test or attack. It also means that we could whip it away and use that as an action for either of our heroes. If it is still there at the end of the game round, it moves to the next game round with the card and it dials up. So 1 would become 2 and so on. If it is used, then it is removed and the power of the ley lines basically peters out. And the only way that you're going to be able to re-establish it is by finding ley lines that are empowerments or neutral ley lines that you can declare as empowerments. So it's pretty important to keep them building up in this one, as it's hard to get ley line empowerments. Okay, that's the end of round 1. So I think that we've shown a few of the dynamics for the game in round 1, but there's obviously a lot more to explore. So stay with us for more of Red Mist Adventures, The Crimson Veil, Act 1, The Black Distillery.